Imagine growing up in a poor housing complex and ending up owning a global empire with over 30,000 stores worldwide. This is the story of Howard Schultz, the man who turned coffee into gold. Howard Schultz wasn't born into privilege. He grew up in the projects of Brooklyn, New York, in a cramped apartment in the Bayview housing complex. His father worked as a truck driver delivering diapers, a tough job that barely paid the bills. One winter, his father slipped on ice, broke his ankle, and lost his job. The family had no health insurance, no savings, and no safety net. Howard was just 7 years old, watching his family's world crumble, and that memory would shape his mission for the rest of his life. In the neighborhood Howard grew up in, nobody talked about big dreams. You survived, you worked, you hoped to make ends meet. But Howard knew there had to be more. He found escape in sports, playing football passionately. That passion earned him a football scholarship to Northern Michigan University, the first in his family to go to college. He didn't come from money, he worked as a bartender and sold his blood to make ends meet during college. After graduation, he became a salesman for Xerox, learning the art of business, persuasion, and discipline. But his life would change when he joined a small company that sold coffee machines. In 1981, Schultz traveled to Seattle to meet one of the company's clients, a small coffee shop called Starbucks. Back then, Starbucks didn't sell cups of coffee. They sold premium coffee beans and equipment for home brewing, but Schultz noticed something: the passion and knowledge of the founders, and the quality of their beans, were unlike anything else in America. A year later, he joined Starbucks as the director of retail operations and marketing. But his big idea came during a trip to Italy. In Milan, Schultz experienced something revolutionary: espresso bars. But these weren't just coffee stands, they were cultural hubs. People came to connect, relax, and enjoy life over coffee. He returned to Seattle convinced Starbucks could become more than a store, it could be an experience. The founders didn't agree. They wanted to stay true to selling beans and equipment, so Schultz left Starbucks in 1985 to start his own coffee bar business called Il Giornale. Il Giornale was a success. Customers loved the European-style café culture. 2 years later, the original Starbucks owners decided to sell their brand, roasting facility, and stores. Schultz seized the moment. With the help of investors, he bought Starbucks in 1987 for $3.8 million. From there, his mission was clear: bring the Italian coffeehouse experience to America, and eventually, the world. Under Schultz's leadership, Starbucks exploded from just 11 stores to over 30,000 worldwide. But this wasn't just about selling coffee. Schultz focused on creating a workplace where employees, or partners, as Starbucks calls them, had benefits, healthcare, and stock options, even for part-time workers. He remembered his father's struggles and wanted to build a company that treated people with dignity. Starbucks became a cultural icon, a third place between home and work, where people connected over a cup of coffee. It wasn't always smooth sailing. Starbucks faced overexpansion problems, economic downturns, and fierce competition. But Schultz stepped back in as CEO in 2008 during a crisis. Closed underperforming stores, retrained staff, and brought the brand back to growth. Today, Howard Schultz's net worth is in the billions. But his story isn't just about money, it's about vision, resilience, and never forgetting where you came from. The boy from the Brooklyn projects built an empire because he saw possibility where others saw a simple cup of coffee. The lesson? Your starting point doesn't define your ending. Dreams only work if you do. If you enjoyed this journey from grit to gold, hit subscribe button, and join us for more real-life stories of people who turn dreams into reality. See you on our next exciting edition.